why software-defined? And like I said, today we're going to be talking specifically around software-defined WAN, but this will apply to any software-defined technology. If you're looking at software-defined branch, software-defined WAN, software-defined data center, there's drivers that are affecting all of those, right? And the first one being is that we have more users connecting to networks today. And not only more users, but those users are connecting from multiple locations. They're connecting wired, wireless. You have all your remote users you're supporting. So your VPN, your VDI infrastructure, Office extension devices like wireless access points, routers, SD-WAN solutions. So you have all these different users connecting on different mediums coming into your network. So how do you make sure that you're able to provide an enterprise class experience for those users and make sure that they're all secure in doing so, especially from those different connectivity types? The next part of that is more applications. So for these users to do their jobs, they have to access applications, right? And no longer are the days that you have all of your data and workflows and applications in your primary data center or private data center. We're starting to move that out to more clouds, right? So if we think about the SaaS consumption, so we have our Office 365s, we have Salesforce, Concur, I mean, and that's just three fairly big ones, but there's tons out there. We're seeing more of a shift into that cloud-based consumption model. So it ultimately leads to a lot more complexity. If you think of how we connect all those users to all those different applications, living in multiple clouds, it makes it very difficult for an IT administrator to manage that and to do so consistently, and also make sure that everything's secure. And if we really think about how traditional networks are today, and we can look at this from a couple of different lenses, right? Maybe it's just a fairly small organization, right? You have maybe a headquarters and a data center at that location, 5 to 10 branch sites. Or you could be an enterprise customer where you have global reach and you have multiple data centers in different regions, hundreds, thousands of branch locations. The connectivity is typically going to be the same, right? You're going to use some kind of private network like MPLS to connect all those branch locations back to your corporate headquarters or your data center. In the instance of that enterprise, maybe you have regional distribution points and egress to your internet, but typically that data center is going to house your internet connectivity. And thinking about those applications and that SaaS-based model, that just means that we're going to start sending more and more traffic across those MPLS links back to our data center and then out our internet pipe at that location, which is ultimately inefficient. I mean, for one, you have to keep upping the bandwidth at your location or at your data centers to support that kind of traffic flow. But in addition to that, by sending traffic backhaul to your data center, you're just adding latency to those cloud-based applications. So Office 365, for example, if you have a branch, say in Atlanta, and you want to connect Office 365 and go to the closest data center, it doesn't make sense for you to backhaul all your traffic to your corporate data center that's maybe sitting in San Jose, California, right? It would be better to use a method like direct internet access, which is easily configurable and secured through something like software-defined WAN. So what we're really seeing is traditional WAN is being outpaced. To really achieve that business transformation and to give those world-class experiences to your users or clients as well as your workforce, we need to shift the way that we're managing and handling our network traffic today. So some of the benefits. So we just kind of talked about a few of the drivers. Now what's the benefits? So what I really hear when I go out and I talk to the client, one of the first conversations that typically comes up is a cost conversation. What's the ROI? How much am I going to save by going to a software-defined WAN? And the answer that I always give, and no one really likes because I've gotten it before and I despise it as well, is it depends, right? Because there are a lot of different factors that go in to that cost conversation, because there are a lot of soft costs associated, right? So if we think about centralized control and visibility that we gain through a software-defined solution, you are giving time back to your IT in troubleshooting efforts and in root cause analysis, problems like that, as well as soft costs associated with deployment times, right? So you can get faster deployment leveraging automation, orchestration, and in some instances, we've seen a 12x improvement in change control time. So being able to create templates for your different device types, shipping a router out, having it ZTP or zero-touch provision back to its control plane or the orchestrator and push that config out to it, is saving IT teams huge time. So that gives them more time in their day to work on other things that you have going on, working on the delivery of more services, rather than spending their times monitoring and troubleshooting and deploying your WAN infrastructure today. But when we talk about transport independence, that's when you really start seeing that hard cost associated, a real ROI. And I mean, again, it depends on how many sites you have, right? But think that you're a customer and you have 100 locations and you're using MPLS at all of those. If you could just remove MPLS at a third of those or a half of those, and you could get the same bandwidth through a commercial broadband or some other form of connectivity, and maybe even get redundant connectivity through commercial broadband at a lower price, that's when you're going to start seeing that real ROI that you can quantify and really build a business.